Ford is changing paths with their dealerships when it comes to EVs. Tesla has shot themselves in the foot whenever it comes to the Cybertruck. And the rumor is that Tesla may, in the very least, be considering the idea of charging their customers for things like heated seats and heated windshield wipers. We are going to be talking about all of this in this video, but before we dive into that, Black Friday is here and the Car Sharing Masterclass once yearly Black Friday sale is going on right now. If you're watching this between November 9th and November 30th, 2023, then take action now and use the code BLACKFRIDAY200 to get $200 off your purchase of the Car Sharing Masterclass. This is the biggest sale that we've ever run, and once it's over, it won't be back until next year, November 2024. I've been a Turo host for over 6 years, and I've compounded all my experience and knowledge and squeezed it into 7 hours worth of content for the Car Sharing Masterclass, where I'll show you everything that you need to know about starting a Turo side hustle. Everything from LLCs, how to work with insurance, what type of cars you should buy, where to buy cars, setting up automated communication systems, and even what to do in the case that your car is in an accident, as well as everything in between. We have hundreds of successful students, and I would love for you to be the next one or your money back guaranteed. Click the link down in the description below to steal the deal now. Now, we're actually doing something a little bit different today than we normally do on my channel. It's Thanksgiving week, and because of that, the news cycle is a bit, slow. And there is a lot going on in the automotive industry that could warrant maybe 2 or 3 minute long videos, but there's not a lot going on that would warrant a single full 8 to 12 minute long video. And so today, I'm going to be breaking down 3 interesting news stories when it comes to the automotive space, rather than covering one in one long-form video. I will have timestamps down in the description below if you want to skip a story or if you have a particular one that is interesting to you. And so first, let's talk about Tesla and this Cybertruck fiasco. News about the Cybertruck has been heating up in recent months, and for a good reason, because on November 30th, so next week, Tesla is going to have their Tesla delivery event for the Cybertruck. But don't get too excited. If you're somebody who has a pre-order for a Cybertruck, there's a high likelihood that you're actually not going to get your Cybertruck delivered on November 30th. In fact, as of right now, it looks as though fewer than a dozen Cybertrucks are actually going to be delivered and handed to their new owners during this event. But the Cybertruck delivery event is not what I want to talk about. Instead, I want to talk about the attempt to add a $50,000 fee for anybody who is looking to flip a Cybertruck within the first year of ownership, which Tesla quietly put into their purchase agreement and then even more quietly took out after public outcry. Now, earlier this month, Tesla tried to briefly implement a $50,000 fee or lawsuit for anyone who buys and then sells the Cybertruck within the first year of ownership. This is to prevent anyone from buying a Cybertruck and then flipping that Cybertruck for a premium shortly after taking ownership. This is actually something that Ford tried to do years back with the Ford GT. In fact, famously, in 2017, John Cena took delivery of a 2017 Ford GT and then sold the car a few months later, despite the fact that there was a clause in the purchase agreement saying he couldn't sell it for a certain amount of time. Ford sued John Cena because of this, and they actually ended up settling out of court in 2018. And Tesla tried to do this exact same thing. To be honest, I think that taking this clause out of the purchase agreement was absolutely the right move. I don't like the idea of automakers telling me when I can or cannot sell my car, because the reality is circumstances change, and there is a real viable situation where somebody may have purchased a Cybertruck, their financial situation took a turn for the worse, and now they need to sell it. And to be penalized for doing that with a $50,000 fine is absolutely egregious. And of course, the Cybertruck no-sale agreement draws a lot of comparisons to what Ford did with the Ford GT. But let's be honest, there's a big difference between putting a no-sale clause in an extremely expensive, limited production supercar versus one that is targeted to the mass American audience, or at least is trying to appeal to the mass American audience. And implementing a no-sale agreement on a Ford GT versus a Cybertruck, these are comparing apples to oranges. Now on to Ford. Ford is absolutely floundering their electric vehicle rollout. Not only did Ford lose $36,000 off of every single electric vehicle that they sold last quarter, but their dealership transition to electric vehicles has also been a hot mess. Last year, Ford, along with a lot of other automakers, rolled out a plan for EVs within their dealerships. I made a lot of videos about this in the past, talking about the approach that automakers took with their EV transition, so I'm not going to go into depth here. Instead, I'm going to keep it really high level and summarized, but long story short, whenever Ford rolled out their EV plan, it basically gave dealerships an opt-in program. And these dealerships would have to opt in, they would have to invest a certain amount of time, resources, and money into these programs to not only train their staff, but to also outfit their dealerships with charging stations. And depending on the level or the tier that they opted into, would give them access to sell and service EVs. There were different types of tiers and different types of opportunities associated with these tiers. Now, at the time that this plan rolled out, I had theorized that this was Ford's way of trying to thin out their dealerships, either force some dealerships to close or ultimately force some dealerships to downsize. And while I do still think that this was probably at least some of their plan and probably continues to be part of their plan, but where lies the problem with Ford when it comes to electric vehicles and this new tier structure is that not only have electric vehicles themselves been very difficult transition for Ford, but it's also been really rocky for the dealership. And there's been a lot of dealership pushback. Now remember that part of this opt-in program was not only to train your sales team and your service team to actually handle electric vehicles, but it was also to implement charging stations within your dealerships, which is extremely costly. And it seems as though as of today, Ford is stepping back on this because they're altering their electric vehicle certification program for dealers, cutting training costs by half, and reducing the number of chargers that retailers must install. This follows a victory by Ford dealers in Illinois, where the state motor vehicle board said the automaker broke the law by requiring dealers to invest heavily if they want to sell EVs. Ford said certified elite dealers, the more expensive of the program's 2 tiers, primarily for those in larger markets, have to install 3 level 2 chargers instead of the 5 it had previously mandated. The company is also removing a requirement to add a level 3 charger by 2026. Dealers of the lower price certified tier are now required to install 2 level 2 chargers instead of 5. So basically what it looks like is going to end up ruling in favor of the dealerships is saying that Ford actually doesn't have the power to require these heavy investments from their dealerships in order to allow them to sell EVs. And at the very least, if Ford is going to require an investment in order to sell EVs, they need to, at the very least, lower the barrier to entry. But what I do think that this does tell us, and what I do think it means to the average consumer, is that dealerships are incredibly powerful and they really aren't going to be going away anytime soon. And last but not least, the rumor mill is churning, and there is some evidence to suggest that Tesla may be experimenting or may be thinking about rolling out a paid subscription for things like heated seats and heated windshield wipers.
I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending.
This is a report by Inside EVs, which is a website that in the past has had accurate and reputable reports. But according to Inside EVs, well-known Tesla hacker Green the Only uncovered the possibility of these upcoming changes after digging into the automaker's latest software update. You can see the tweet right here. And according to the article, while it's not guaranteed that Tesla will charge for these features, Green's findings indicate that the logic is already embedded in the software update, so the thought has at least crossed the automaker's mind. I hate the idea of paying any subscription for any amount for a feature in a vehicle. The thought of paying any subscription for a hardwired feature in a car, it makes me want to throw up. It disgusts me. And in my opinion, I think the move to offer subscription services for car features like heated seats, heated windshield wipers, things like that, I think it sets an extremely dangerous precedent. And it's one that we as consumers need to reject harshly. Autopilot and self-driving is one thing. While I don't like those subscriptions, I at least can understand the thought process of charging a monthly fee for those. To me, it's sort of the equivalent of paying for an Apple Music or a Spotify subscription. Sure, I'd rather it be free, but I also get why they charge. But features that have historically come on cars through an upgraded trim level or a flat fee that are now being charged on a subscription basis, it's just ridiculous. And truly, when does it end? If we don't make it very clear to automakers that we will not pay for these stupid subscriptions, what's going to be next? Paying for FM radio, aux input, Bluetooth? It sounds ridiculous, but I actually don't think that it is. When BMW tested the waters for subscriptions, they got a ton of backlash. And they ended up backpedaling, and it looks as if now they aren't going to roll out any subscription features for their cars. And I hope that the response for Tesla, if Tesla chooses to go this route, is the same. Because subscriptions for hardwired features in vehicles is something that none of us should accept. Now, for my American viewers, happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you guys have a great holiday. And remember that the Car Sharing Masterclass is on sale for Black Friday until November 30th. You can use the code BlackFriday200 for $200 off that purchase. The link is down in the description below. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.